Alright, for today's lesson we are going to be doing multiplication and then division. So today we will be using Cuisenaire rods or C-rods. So I want everybody to go and grab your C-rods and come back to your desk. And when you get back, I want you to go ahead and pull out the dark green, pink, light green, red, and white. And when you get all of them out, I want to go over what we are using these specifically for. So first, we are going to look at creating our whole. Now, our whole is going to be 2 dark greens. 2 dark greens is equal to 12 because 1 dark green is 6 white. The pink ones are equal to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The light green are equal to 3 white. 1, 2, 3. And our red is equal to 2. 1, 2. So I want all of these to be lined up at the top of your desk, and this is going to be a reference for you. So our first problem is going to be a multiplication problem, and it is 2/3 times 1/4. So when we think of that, we think 2/3 of 1/4, or what is 2/3 of 1/4? So when we're thinking 2/3 of 1/4, what should we begin with? We should begin with a 1/4. So when you look up at your reference, we know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 light green ones in a whole. So we're going to take one of those. So leave your reference ones at the top. I want you to grab another green one, light green one, and set it down. So why are we using light green? Well, the light green is, like I said, equal to 1/4 because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 in a whole, and we're using 1 to represent our 1/4. Okay, so how do we get 2/3 of 1/4? So you're looking at your C-rods and you're thinking there's no possible way. So we're going to use white. So I want you to grab 3 white. Because if you look, now we have 1, 2, 3. 3 whites is equal to 1/4. So what is 2/3 of 1/4? So we're going to do this. 2/3. So we know this is 1/3 of 1/4, 2/3 of 1/4, and 3/3 of 1/4. So we're going to take 2. So 2/3 of 1/4 is the same as 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of 12. So what are we saying? We're saying our answer is 2 out of 12. 2/12. How can that be, right? I know it's confusing because you see up here, but if you take 2, why don't you put them on top of your whole. 2 out of 12. So we are going to talk about what the parsimonious solution to this is. So we're seeing here 2/12. Now, if we do this, 1 red is equal to 2 whites. So what do you think the simplest solution is? No, it's not 1/12. Okay, so let's count the reds in our reference. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we take 1 red out of 6, what do we get? 1/6. So our answer is 1/6. Okay, so when we're talking about multiplication, we can also do the commutative property, which states that it doesn't matter what order the numbers are in, you will get the same answer. So we are going to talk about what 1/4 of 2/3 is. So now it kind of is going to make a little bit more sense when why we have more rods up here than we didn't use last time. So 2/3. Okay, so we're going to say, what is 1/4 of 2/3? We are going to look at our reference, and I want somebody to tell me what we are going to use for 2/3. Okay, yes, we're going to use the pink ones. We're going to use how many pink ones? 2, because there's 1, 2, 3, and we need 2/3. Okay, so now that we have our 2/3, what is 1/4 of these? Right, so how do you make 1/4? So what we're going to do is we're going to use your white. So everybody grab some whites, and I want you to line them up until they cover your light pinks. Now I want you to count your whites. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. We have 8 white that are equal to our 2/3. Okay, so what are we going to do? All right, so, okay, so you think we should split the whites up into groups. How many groups should we split these up into to get our 4ths? 4? Okay, let's try that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what is 1/4 of 2/3? So if these are equal to 1/4 because they're paired, what is 1/4 of 2/3? 2 whites. So what is 2 whites equal to? 1 red, which is equal to 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 2 out of 1, 2, 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2/12. So our solution is 2/12. Our parsimonious or simplest form is 1/6. Does anybody else have any questions? Isn't this fun using C-rods to do multiplication? All right, so now we are going to move on to our next problem. Our next problem is going to be division, and we're not going to use our reference anymore, so you can slide those off to the side, and we're going to create a new whole. So our new whole will be 1 dark green rod, and you're also going to need 2 light greens, 3 reds, and 6 whites. And we're going to use that as our reference. So slide that up to the top of your desk. All right. So now we are going to work on our problem. 2/3 divided by 1/2. Okay. So this may be confusing for you. It may be kind of daunting. But I want you to understand that the way we're going to do it, it's going to make it really easy and it's going to come really fast. So the question you should be asking, just like we used in the first one, what is 2/3 of 1/4? We're going to ask, how many copies of 1/2 are in 2/3? How are we going to do that? So I would like everybody to look at your reference and what C-rod should we be using? The thirds. Okay, so what color are we going to be looking at? That's right, red. So let's pull out our 3 reds because we know those are our thirds. 1, 2, 3. And we know that 2 of them is equal to 2/3. So we'll set this one to the side. So how many halves are in 2/3? Okay, so if you look at our reference, what color are our halves? That's right. Light green are our halves. So let's pull out 2 light greens. Let's set them down. So we know that there's this one and this one. Oh. What do we see? That's right. 2 full light greens don't go into 2/3. So we're going to put this one to the side. So how do we solve this? Okay, so we're going to go back and use our whites. We are going to line our whites on top. And we know that 3 whites is equal to 1 light green. And then we have an extra. Let's set it here. Okay, so let's look at this. How many halves, how many copies of half are in 2/3? Well, we know there's 1. Let's put the here, 1, right? And then we have 1, what? Count. 1, 2, 3. So we know that's 3, and then we have an extra, so we know that 1 out of 3 is what? 1/3. So our answer is 1/2, or 1 C rod, 1 light green tea rod with 1/3. So how many copies of 1/2 are in 2/3? There is 1 and 1/3 copy of a half in 2/3. See, wasn't that a lot fun? And a lot easier than you thought it was going to be? Okay, any more questions? No? Oh, what about the red one? Well, this extra red one was part of our original 3, and we used 2/3 of it. We just set it to the side. We didn't need to use it anymore. Okay. All right, so I want everybody to go ahead and clean up your C-rods and get back to your desk.